Hi, I'm Leonard Maltin, and I can't believe it, but I'm sitting here with the Hardy Boys. Hi, guys.
Two of them, anyway.
We are the hardiest Hardy Boys I know.
And the others, just us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, forget those other guys.
Yeah, all right.
No. It was you two. I was one of the millions of kids who had to get home every day in time to watch the new installment of your adventure. It was a really terrific show.
I thought a lot about it. One word, bloodhounds, is what comes to mind. That's the way I saw it.
Bloodhounds.
Bloodhounds is what we were, Tim. Frank.
Oh, us. I was trying to make a connection, like Orson Welles. That word comes
Rosebud.
Yeah. Rosebud. Bloodhounds.
You look at that thing today. We were bloodhound at full cry.
Teenage bloodhound.
And the two of you were
There was great
matchup.
chemistry between Frank and Joe Hardy.
I
really
think so too. I feel it now.
And he was like a little younger brother. And I would take advantage of him personally anytime I could.
Sure, hydraulics, Sheriff. Plain old everyday water power to you. Hands up.
I remember one time.
He's too hard on himself. He was only protective. He was a good brother. He was a good policeman. And so was I.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd be outside the door. The scene is taking place in our queue, and I'm next to the door. And our queue, we're supposed to go in.
You only
and
did
I'd
that
give
a
him,
couple of times.
I'd give him some false cues, like, "Here we go,"
And I'd charge
he'd
you.
start that.
He'd make me jump the gun.
Like an older brother would do to a younger
Sense.
brother.
That's the only thing he ever did.
Now, if you'll just assemble all the clues, maybe we can solve...
Oh, why don't parents ever understand anything?
One of the very first episodes, Tommy, you have to cry because you're upset because your dad is neglecting you, and you were counting on
Well, he
spending
wanted
some
us to
time with
quit.
him. Yeah.
I was a fanatic to be a detective like him. We wanted to be like our father. His approval was everything.
But your emotions were right there.
Yeah.
He could always do that. He was a terrific actor, scary good
So
actor
was he,
as a kid.
We're the ones that got everybody all excited.
Just because I wanted a real mystery for a change.
I think Tom worked harder than I know. Tom worked harder within himself than I did, because that was the way he got there. And I appreciated that. I looked at that and thought, wow, because he was a scary, good, hard-working kid actor who really put everything.
When I believed in it, I could throw myself into it.
You could throw.
And you guys had such a believable relationship as brothers and partners, teammates.
We were
sort
kind of
this
like older
adventure.
brother, younger brother. I was merciless with him, merciless.
No, he was just a little older, and he played him a little cooler-headed and laid back, and smarter. Joe was all energy, but he was intelligence. We made a nice team. We were a good cop team.
Bum, 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 bum.
Cut it out! Now, will you wait here for me? Oh, you pull the dumbest stunts I ever... Oh! Frank!
Jackson Gillis wrote this show. He's one of the great detective writers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's a lot I don't know about it.
And he'd written Spin and Marty already.
It's a cop show.
Didn't know that either.
It's a good, real cop show.
A footprint. Just like those other ones we found.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, this must have been made just since we got inside.
Actually, it was on this very set.
Right here.
We're on the stage where it
50
was
years ago, 50 years ago, short a month that we began to film the Hardy Boys. And I had, as you said, I had been in Spin and Marty. And that was a really interesting.
He got all the mail.
It was an outside show done away from the studio. This was sort of like going back to work again. And I hadn't met Tom either, and didn't know him. And it was my first experience working with him.
I tested with you.
Did
with
you?
other
Yeah.
kids standing around.
What was the test? Was it a scene from the show?
Yeah, I had to do a scene with him, a long thing about digging in the backyard for some clue, and about 5 pages of yak, 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 yak. The other guys, the other kids who were testing for my part were standing off watching me like this. Remember that?
No.
I remember all that.
He already had the part. He doesn't remember.
No, I don't. I don't remember much.
I
to tell
remember
you the
stuff.
truth.
I don't know.
50
You
years
remember what
ago.
you want to remember.
Of course you do. But you got the part, and that began your career here at the Disney Studio, which lasted many years.
It was a great part, and they were always going nuts on the trail of some fantastically significant clue. That's what I remember.
Well, it was to them.
Yeah.
To them.
And that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Virtually everything was on this stage, wasn't it?
Pretty much this one and the one next to it, I think.
So let's see. There was the house. There was the front porch and the front yard of the house. Then, of course, there was Old Man Applegate's house and its front yard, the old abandoned tower.
Yeah, which was a big story point.
It was pretty much every little town USA,
Yeah.
your town
Yeah.
USA, you
Yeah.
know, just a little neighborhood, not upscale, not downscale.
The other thing I remember is that we were really blessed with great actors. I mean, Arthur Shields was in the first show. Arthur Shields, wasn't he Barry Fitzgerald's brother?
Yes, he was.
I was just fascinated with him.
He's what I remember most about the show. I've remembered that character all these years, and his accent and that cap. Tell me about Sarah Selby. She seemed very sweet.
She was kind of a little dotty, you know. I mean,
Or
that's
she
her
was
character. Her
holding
character was
that,
dotty.
you know.
Sweet, and I just hope you boys stay out of trouble and try not to break anything.
They always say they're going no place to do nothing, but
Remember that? She was just sort of
It wouldn't be the
concerned,
point.
but she let us go our own way.
Russ Conway was the guy who played your father, right?
Dad.
Yeah, yeah. Steady, steady.
Yes. I haven't asked you yet about Carol Ann Campbell, the little girl who played Iola. She's so good.
Carol Ann Campbell. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
Pretty girl.
Yeah. Very sweet. I do remember that.
Yeah. You were both young working professionals then. How much of it was make-believe and how much of it was the routine of memorizing lines and being on time and knowing what you were doing?
Our approaches to everything and are sort of from different footings and backgrounds.
Well, let's talk about your backgrounds then.
Well, I'm from the South. I'm from Kentucky. I'm from a very remote area. My people came west for war work in the Second World War, and otherwise I would have never been here. And I had an older brother who wanted to be in movies, and he even auditioned for Treasure Island against Bobby Driscoll, who got it. Can you believe that?
Yeah, wow.
And he didn't get it. I got into Pasadena Playhouse through him.
Was this something you were intrigued by because of your brother?
He said, "You want to come with me to an audition for Our Wilderness and try out for the part of Tommy. Doesn't pay any money, but it's 3 lines, and you get to be in a play for the summer." Yeah, okay, I went. I was the only kid who showed up. I got the part, and bang, I'm an actor with a card and everything in about 3 months. That's how I got started.
Wow. And then do you know how you were selected or how you were spotted to come
Bill
here?
Walsh, who was the big head honcho of the Mickey Mouse Club, saw me on NBC Matinee Theater. Tim did 1, I did 33, and he tested me. And I tested against several other very competent kids, and I got the part.
And what did your parents think of this?
Their attitude was very good. I think it was very wise. They said, "You know, son, it's a goldfish bowl life. Whatever happens, you know, it's your choice. We're not telling you to do it or not do it. You do what you want to do." So I took a shot.
And the rest, as they say, is
Now, in contrast to that, you, Tim, come from a very famous show business family.
Both my parents were in vaudeville. One side, Sullivan and Considine, was the first coast-to-coast vaudeville circuit. The other side was Alexander Pantages. Then my father was a very successful and kind of prominent producer. I think he produced 43 movies. They knew about the pressures of child actors and the life. It was with some misgivings, actually, that they permitted me to do this. But I never had any pressure. They were never impressed by anything that I did. They would say, "That's a good job. Now, what else is new? What are you doing? You know, what's your life? What team are you playing next, or whatever?" Which is different than most child actors. Whenever I didn't like what I was doing, I'd quit. I'd already quit when I came here. And he said, "Disney." That was the magic word when I was 14 years old. That was magic. And I said, "Oh yeah, let's go out there and see what's going on."
Tell me what a typical day was like when you were working here. Now, you were both still minors, so you still had to attend school.
And we had a trailer right outside the the door where we went to school. The mice had another trailer up the way, the Mouseketeers, and they went to school all the time here.
We should ask Tim. Now you actually did the Annette serial, didn't you? A year
got
later
all
on the
those.
Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, yeah.
He got her in Shaggy Dog. He got her in the series.
And you're still holding a grudge after all this
Nah,
time.
I've forgiven him.
Okay,
I've forgiven
all
him.
right. Well, that's very generous.
She was
It didn't
terrific.
last anyway.
Yeah, it didn't last. No. The story with Annette was that the first year I was here and we were in Spin and Marty, she was just one of those mice, is what I call them. I discovered them one time. I went into the commissary. The building still exists. In fact, the front of it's just like it was. Some 50 years ago. I remember seeing these little kids come in with names on the front of them, and they wore what I described as a yarmulke with wings, you know. And I thought, what the heck is that? And so after lunch, I saw them parading out. I had a little bit of time, so I followed them. And I just kind of walked along behind, see where these strange people would go. And they went to the theater. And I went down and I kind of stayed in the background and I saw them singing and dancing. And I thought, oh Lord, I'm so glad I don't have to I could never do that. You know, I mean, they were talented, you know, they could act and dance and sing and all that. I thought, oh,
Me neither.
I could never do that, you know. And that was the first time I ever saw Annette. She, I'm told anyway, had a crush on me from Spin and Marty the first year, right? Well, I mean, she was a year or so younger than me. At that age, that was, I mean, a mere child, you know. And don't be silly. Now, in a couple of years, she bloomed into this beautiful young teenager. And then I thought, well, now I took a second look at this, and this is not such a bad deal, right? Well, she had long moved past me, so we kind of went like this, you know. The Mickey Mouse Club was a tremendously popular show because I think, there wasn't that much on television for kids at the time, unless it was all animated or puppets. So there were only a couple of shows. There were the Nelsons, and there was us, you know, that had people that they could relate to, that they were their people. They're doing it for them. And even if they thought it was corny or what, they paid attention, you know. And it was it amazed me how popular it was. I mean, it stunned me.
And then one day, they were all gone. That's what I remember, you know. The show only lasted, I think, 3 years.
Oh, I was also gone. He lasted for many years.
Yes.
You lasted a lot longer than the Mouseketeers.
Did I?
Yeah, I think so. I think they went about 1958, and you left the studio about 60. He just went to one of the most famous, loved series of all time, My Three Sons.
Yes. You went from hit to hit, actually,
Yeah.
as you did here at Disney.
He never stopped working.
Yeah. This studio's always had a different feeling, a different atmosphere than other studios around town, which look like movie factories.
That was part of me coming back, was how magic this place was. The first day I interviewed here, we just played softball with Bill Walsh, was either the catcher or the umpire. I can't remember which, but I do remember he had a catcher's mask on and a cigar sticking out of it. That was my first impression, was wow, this is really neat. It was kind of a new, special thing. And of course, doing television was new and special other than the one show. So it was completely different.
Disney was an oasis. It was wholesome, clean.
Did you have a sense of how popular your serial was at all? Did you get any feedback?
I did.
Yeah.
Because I haven't felt something was good in my career, but maybe 2 or 3 times. But I felt the Hardy Boys was good, the first one.
I mean, at first it was, what is that all about? What, you know, does that have anything to do with us? And then we saw how our show was a part of another show. We didn't know that either. Well, I think we may have been told, but we had no idea what the Mickey Mouse Club was. And by that time, it had become evident that this thing, whatever this Mickey Mouse Club thing is really bigger than we thought.
Of the directors you work with, who do you hold in highest regard and why?
I worked with directors I loved. I loved Robert Stevenson on Old Yeller. And I loved Charles Barton on Shaggy Dog. And I liked, kind of grudgingly, Ken Anakin on Swiss Family Robinson.
I remember Charles Barton because he let me stage a scene. And it was the first taste I got of directing. I staged a whole fight scene for Spin and Marty, and that was really fun. But I remember him for that. I think that was just a wonderful thing to allow a 16-year-old kid to do, you know.
What a generous gesture.
Really, really.
Did you guys do any personal appearances?
The John Tracy Clinic, Spencer Tracy's foundation.
I vaguely remember
Deaf
something
kids.
about that, yeah. Why did we do that?
It was for the benefit of the kids. You know, they got to meet
But there must have been
celebrities.
someone here, like a Bill Walsh or somebody, who said, you know, I'd love it if you guys came to, or did they just say, you guys go to the John Tracy Clinic?
I think it was a charity.
I wonder if it was a
charity.
charity of Mr. Disney's.
I think Walt Disney did know Spencer Tracy. I think they played polo together. Maybe there was some connection of that sort.
I remember doing that every year.
We just watched a kinescope of a show called Disneyland 59, which was sort of the grand reopening of the park, where they had new rides, and it was the day that Vice President Nixon was there with his daughters to cut the ribbon for the monorail, and you're in the parade that day,
I rode with
Tommy.
Nixon.
Yeah. Did you?
Yes, I met him.
Did you give him any advice?
I said, listen, shave before the debate.
If only he'd
That was
listened,
good.
yes. Yeah. But you do remember that day, though.
I certainly do.
Now, is that opening day?
No, it was kind of a fourth anniversary reopening.
Oh, because I was there
1959.
opening day.
Were you there in 1955?
Yep,
Yes.
yep. And Nixon was there. I don't know if Nixon.
No,
well, Nixon
not on
must
that
have been. Well, because his daughters were there. I know because I fancied one of them at the time. I don't remember which one, but.
I'm okay. That's his freight train. He'll get away.
What you guys did really had a big impact on an awful lot of viewers, an awful lot of kids who really watched and listened and paid attention and took something away from that show.
It's not a bad thing, you know, to have played in our innocent way a nice part in someone's life and someone's existence. Whether it's due to us, it's not, but due to circumstances, this particular show, you know, at that particular time, was meaningful to a big number of people. I didn't realize until later and later and later. It's nice to be remembered for something good, something nice.
What are you two doing, playing detective?
You guys really were terrific. You always were, and everyone who ever watched you work knows it.
How much do we have to pay this guy?
No. That's a free compliment because it's true. You were very, very gifted actors, and all the more so for being young. That's why we're talking to you today, and we're so happy to have you here.
Aside. Thank you.
That's very kind of you.
Thank you.
I think we were really blessed by being in at the right place at the right time, more than any intrinsic quality or
that's the
skill or
truth.
talent. I mean, we may have had something, but to be where we were and to be in the shows that we were and to be at Disney Studios
If we
in the
hadn't
50s.
have done it, somebody else would have done it. We just happened to be next in line.
Yeah.
But I can say this: we came to act. We came to work, and I still believe in. I heard Jimmy Stewart say, "I believe in the gospel of hard work." That's what I believe in, and I think that's great.
I think that shows because even though you were young, you were professionals, and you had a professional
That's right.
approach to what you did.
That I'm proud of. That he's proud of.
Wonderful. Well, these are wonderful memories. Thank you so much for sharing them with us.
You know, it's like only yesterday, Leonard.
Yeah.
If that's what it feels like to me.
Well, I think that's terrific.
It was 2 weeks ago. Is that?
No, it was 50 years ago, Tom.
Feels like 2 weeks. Is that senility or
Yes.
No, I think
atrophy?
that's,
Yes.
I think it's the same thing. I think it's you're in touch with your emotions and you remember these things that matter to you.
The Hardy Boys matter to me.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you, Leonard.